Welcome back to Warmaker. In this video I'm going to demonstrate play mode, since that's where the meat is, and I think people most interested in. The game is John Hill Overlord, with subsequent development by Frank Chadwick. So this is obviously a game based on the Normandy campaign. It's a classical hex encounter war game, but a very good one. So first, a word about the interface. If you've played any of my last 5 to 10 games, it's the same interface conventions. The map can be scrolled by dragging. You can right click to zoom out and in. Right clicking on a stack will give you a pop-up view of what's in there. And I think that's, plus there's keyboard equivalents for pretty much everything. So let's start playing. So I'm going to play the first turn real quickly of Overlord, which starts right after day 1 of the D-Day landings. So first we would load the game. So like most of my other games, the game's saved at the start of every phase, so we're going to load the German first turn reinforcement phase, and then we're going to initiate it, which is not something you would normally have to do. Set turn phase, and so there's the date, there's the phase, the action. We just need to initiate it. Done. Okay. So we're starting reinforcement phase. The ways that works is you click on a unit in the box, and that'll show you, it'll highlight where it can enter, and you just click on the hex. You go on the next 5, you can see its entry hex showed up on the right side as soon as I clicked on the first one. That does them. If you close it to look around, you can open it by just clicking on an empty hex. And get the last 3 guys, which start up here, and we're done. And to start the next phase, I'm going to use the enter key, and so we go to the supply phase. So click on that to show the supply path. You can change it in the rules here. I didn't update it. Oh, because supply range is 99, that's why. There we go. So that's, you could do that, but in this game, all you need is a line of communication, so it's not really an issue. You could also edit the supply effects. You can have it apply. Nobody's going to be in a supply. They would be marked with a big U if they were. You could also right click on units to toggle their supply status if you're not happy with what the program decided. So we don't need to see that anymore. We're done. Enter key to start the movement phase, and that's simply done by right click or clicking on a unit. We get a grid. This will probably, in the final version, this will probably just be highlighted. Right now it's showing the movement costs to get to different hexes. So you just click on any hex that has a number in it, and you can move there. That's editing. So you can undo by clicking on them, but we need that guy. We need to form some sort of line. So units can move from zone of control to zone of control in this game, as long as they only moving 1 hex. So you pretty much need a continuous line. Hold people back. And the Germans are a little short on units at the beginning of the game, unfortunately. But this is for demo purposes anyway, so we want to set up an attack. Alrighty. So we're going to bring the 12th SS here. Let me see. Put the guy in the city. Okay. So I think we can get there, can't we? No, I guess not. Let's go in the city. So stacking's kind of complicated in this game. It's kind of 3 units for the Germans and 2 units for the Allies. However, divisions stack together as one, and then you can add 1 non-divisional unit, and then there's other exceptions. So for this game, there's no enforcement of stacking rules because it's just too messy. But there will be stacking enforcement in other games, or that will be an option. All right. So we don't want to spend too much time moving. We want to move on to the next phase, which would be another supply. Actually, it'd be supply determination for both sides. Where everyone's in supply, so we don't care. Hit enter again. So we're going to do combat allocation. So the way the program works is there's always a separate allocation phase followed by a combat phase. Later on, I will have an option to do both in the same phase and then mark units as being used. But for most games, this is probably good enough. So we want to whack the 3rd Canadians. Yeah, let's maybe try to choose one of those tank brigades. So it's showing the odds. It's taking into consideration terrain effects. And that's probably enough combat. Okay, so on to combat. Okay, so to actually execute a combat, we just click on the defender's hex. Shows the units. In this game, there's 2 CRTs which you could toggle through. You can also, if you attach an image to the data file, you can look at it. If you need to apply special effects, you could do it here. So right now it's 8-to-1. Let's say the defender was doubled for some reason the program doesn't know about. You could do that there. It would take in most of the time you're going to be normal. You also have the option of adding other random factors in to correct mistakes or just for special rules. Overlord has air and naval support, so actually there is a need to be able to add factors. I believe this guy's within range of the coast, so they could add, well, I could add some defensive support, which I think they will do since they're in bad shape otherwise. The Germans have a few airplane factors, which I think they'll use. I think they have 6 a month, so we'll use 4 for here to get this up to. You could also do column shifts and die roll modifications, but that doesn't really apply to this game. And then we generate a random number. You can see the column is always displayed over here for whatever column you're currently in, and it gives you a short explanation of the results, which would be in your data file. So, and what did we get? We got a defender retreats 3. So actually you can't retreat through zone of controls unless they're occupied, so this guy's actually dead. So we're going to right click on him to eliminate him, and then we're going to advance some people. We need to get I'm going to get these guys in one stack. And so the program just lets you do retreats and advances. It doesn't really enforces rules such as zone controls and whatnot. That's up to the user to do correctly. And we click on done, and so the eliminated, it disappears, and it's just the Germans there. Could also start attack, and then we decided we didn't want to do that. We could close this and come back to it later. You could also cancel it here, but we'll go ahead and roll the dice and see what we got. So another retreat. In this case, they have retreat 3 again. Wow, some lucky Germans. So let's see, 3 hexes. 1, 2, 3. And Germans don't really want to advance to the swamps, so we'll just say we're done. So that's combat. Let's do allied reinforcements at least. Not very much. So we got some people landing in Utah. So there's actually a hex side cost. So it costs 2 to land. So that's was done by adding a landing hex side that costs 2 movement points essentially. Oops. And we're done. So we could land these guys, and you can see it costs them 3 movement points to get to the first hex, basically. All right, a couple other things. Let's we can view the units, and so there's various ways. If you want to look at reinforcements, you could do it by turn, so I could see what's coming up next turn, maybe just for the allies, and maybe just for Omaha Beach. A lot of times you're going to want to look at the eliminated units. So we have 1 dead guy, so we can see them. So that's another feature. So there's also anytime you can go into God mode if the program's not doing what you need to do, and just relocate units or change their strengths if, say, you had step reduction. I think there's enough features here to do 70% of the war game hex and counter war games that are out there. I'll be adding other features depending on user feedback. And so that's all for now. Thank you very much.